Mark for the Bad Movie Mark movie review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1973 Western spectacular extravaganza, Winchester 73.
All right, this is a big one. It's all or none this time.
Oh, geez. I wasn't prepared for this to be such a big movie. I hope I do okay. I hope this review lives up to it. I'm reviewing every movie that has 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'll give them all a score of 1 to 10. After I watch them and score them all, I will rank them from worst to best. I started in the 1920 silent movie era, and now I'm at 1950 with Winchester 73. So this movie has 100% fresh rating from the audience and an 80% fresh rating from the critics. And like always with every James Stewart movie I review, I will try to be unbiased because he is my favorite actor of all time. So this movie stars James Stewart as Lin McAdam, Shelley Winters as Lola Manners, Dan Dura as Waco Johnny Dean, Stephen McNally as Dutch Henry Brown, Mildred Mitchell as High Spade, Will Greer as Wyatt Earp, and Rock Hudson as Young Bull. So when this movie opens up, we are introduced to the big star of the movie, the star that drives the action, that drives all the suspense, that drives all the drama, the biggest actor in the world, the Winchester 73. So this is a gun that is a unique gun. It's called the 1 of 1,000, meaning that there were very few of them made. In fact, the people in this town, most of them didn't probably ever think that they would see it, let alone be able to look at it in a case and maybe one day touch it.
Boy, a Winchester 73! But I'd give to have that gun.
1 of 1,000. First one I ever see.
Now, the reason why it's in this case is because it is the grand prize for a shooting contest that they're having in town. So, of course, the first person who arrives to town is James Stewart. And when he comes to town, he asks the sheriff, he approaches the sheriff with a high spade, and the sheriff right away says, "You have to give me your guns." And they're like, "What is this rule? We never heard this. Why do we have to give you our guns?" And the sheriff says, "Because I'm Wyatt Earp." And they're like, "Oh, of course, here's my gun, please. Here, yeah, anyone else have a gun? Here, give them the guns, guys."
We don't allow anybody to wear guns in Dodge City. Hadn't you noticed?
Who's we?
Oh, didn't I introduce myself? I'm the marshal, Wyatt Earp.
So they give them the guns, and then they learn that there is going to be a shooting contest in town. And of course, Lin McAdam wants to do this shooting contest because he's a pretty good shot. So the Wyatt Earp is leading him and High Spade into this saloon where they're going to sign up for the shooting contest. And when they walk in, they see Dutch Henry Brown right there. Now, Dutch Henry Brown is also someone that James Stewart is after. He's the main reason at first for this movie. So he's trying to kill Henry Brown, but we don't know why yet. We're not sure why he wants to kill him. So when they see each other, they start to try to draw for their guns, but they don't have guns because they had to give them to Wyatt Earp. Wyatt Earp kind of approaches them and says, "Hey, like, I thought you said you didn't know anyone in this town. I thought you didn't know who Dutch Henry Brown was." And Lin says, "Well, I didn't remember his name. It was the name I didn't recognize."
That's Dutch Henry Brown.
So they end up having this shooting contest, and of course, like you would guess, Lin McAdam and Dutch Henry Brown are the two finalists after the first round. And Wyatt Earp pretty much says, "We could move these targets all the way into the next city, and you guys would still hit them. Like, what can we do to break this tie?" So they decide they're going to flip a coin in the air, and when they flip a coin in the air, they're going to try to shoot it as it goes in the air. So they flip a coin, and both of them are able to shoot it. Only Lin is the only one who gets it dead center, but it doesn't really matter as long as they both shoot the coin. So then they decide they're going to shoot like this little coin with a hole in it. They throw the coin with the hole in it up. They both shoot, but it both goes through the hole, so it doesn't count. So left with this idea, what can we do now? Lin decides, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tape a piece of paper to the back to this hole. That way I can shoot through the piece of paper. Now, if I shoot it, I win the gun. But if I can't shoot it, you win the gun. So they throw it up. He shoots, and he wins the gun.
Uh-huh.
The winner!
As soon as he wins the gun, he decides that as soon as he wins the gun, Dutch Henry Brown decides that he is going to leave town. And he announces to everyone, "Hey, I'm going to leave town, guys. Leaving town. which means he's probably not going to leave town because he announced it to pretty much everyone. Hearing this, Lin McAdam decides he's going to leave town too because his only reason for being there is to kill Dutch Henry Brown. So Lin McAdam goes up to his where he's staying at the hotel, and he gets jumped by Dutch Henry Brown and his gang. And then Dutch Henry Brown is getting right off into the sunset. And when Lin McAdams meets up with High Spade, they go right after him in tow. So now this is a movie about chasing not only Dutch Henry Brown, but also chasing after this coveted Winchester 73. So next we see Dutch Henry Brown in a casino, not a casino, he's in a saloon, and there's this guy who's playing cards by himself. He's playing solitaire, and he's a gun trader, so he trades guns with Indians. And of course, Henry Brown wants to buy guns, but he doesn't have any money. So he decides, I'll play you a game of high stakes poker, and whoever wins, I can get the guns. I can buy the guns from you if I win. Now, I've seen enough Westerns in my life to know that if someone's sitting in front of you and he's wearing this hat and he's wearing this coat, this suit thing, you don't play any cards because he's gonna just destroy you.
Well, I'm not much at poker myself. Still, it was only for $1 or $2. Who knows? You might win another 20 and have the price of one gun. That's the idea.
He's a card sharp. He's gonna cheat and he's gonna win, and you can tell because he's wearing that hat. So the guy, the card sharp, he's like, well, I don't know. None played for money, none. I'm not sure if I know how to play that well. Yeah, I'll play in a game of cards, son. So they start playing cards, and of course, Dutch Henry Brown loses, and he loses terribly, and he loses like every hand that there is, and he ends up not having enough money to hand over, so he has to hand over his Winchester 73. So now the Winchester 73 is with someone else. Now he's with this card sharp. So Dutch McAdams ends up getting his guns, and he heads off, and then we see the card sharp who is heading to the Indians to trade trade the guns for money. When he gets there, the young bull, he is the chief. He looks at the guns and he says, hey, these guns aren't what we talked about. And then he makes a speech about how he doesn't understand why the white men are allowed to cheat him just because he's an Indian.
So it is wise to listen in silence while you wait to cheat me. All white men are thieves. In peace, they steal our land. In war, they kill our women.
And it's a really good speech. Rock Hudson, he's a great actor, so clearly this is going to be a really good speech. And then he says, you know what, I'll take that Winchester 73 you have right there. And the card sharp says, oh, the Winchester 73, that's not for sale. Of course, young bull says, well, it's for sale now. And he ends up killing the card sharp, and now young bull has the gun. So now we are another person with the gun. So what do you think is going to happen to young bull? Because the other people lost the gun. What do you think is going to happen to young bull? Well, we then run into Lola Manners and her boyfriend, I think. They are riding a carriage, and they are just going across the countryside riding this carriage, when all of a sudden young bull comes up from beside them and kind of runs them off. And they're going, and they end up getting to a command post where the army is. So,
Can we outrun them?
I don't know.
So they ride into there, and the Indians ride away because they don't want to have anything to do with them yet. When they get to this command post, they learn that the army is buckled down here because they are also hiding from the Indians. The Indians kind of have them cornered in this one little spot here, and they can't get out of it. So then we are once again introduced to Lin and High Spade. They are also riding along the same Indian trail, searching for this gun and searching for Dutch Henry Brown. And they are also trailed by young bull and his men. And then they end up in the same camp that Lola and her boyfriend ended up in. Only when they get there, Lin McAdam has a plan. He says, I know how they're going to attack. This is how they've done it before. This is what they're going to do. This is our plan. This is what we're going to do. So they bunker down until young bull attacks. And then they end up holding off young bull and his hundreds of Indians with like the 10 of them because they're American. They can do it because it's an American movie and we win every battle with the Native Americans when we're in movies and westerns. So they fight off the Indians, they kill Young Bull, and then Young Bull loses the Winchester as well. So now, great, the Winchester is right where Lin McAdam is, right? So you can just pick it up, movie's done. No, because he ends up riding off. He doesn't look at what guns were dropped off, or like he doesn't go through the loot that was dropped off. He just rides away and he's still looking for the gun, even though it's right there. So the leader of the army, this platoon, he sees the gun and he offers it to Lola Mannor's boyfriend. Uh-oh. Rest in peace, boyfriend. So he gets the gun. They end up going to this like house. They meet Waco Johnny Dean. Now, Waco Johnny Dean ends up killing Lola Mannor's boyfriend. I honestly don't remember why they do this, but he does it, and she's distraught for like a couple seconds, and then he ends up taking her. He takes the gun is his now, and he says, "We're gonna go meet up with my friend." So they ride off. She's doesn't seem like she's, you know, too broken up over the death of her boyfriend, or broken up over the fact that she has to go away with this guy. So she ends up going away with him, and wouldn't you know it, when they get to his friend's house, it's Dutch Henry Brown's house.
Your echo's confused.
This time it's Dutch Henry.
So they get there, and Dutch Henry Brown sees the gun, and he says, "That's my gun!" And then he ends up taking it from Waco Johnny Brown, Waco Johnny Dean, because Waco Johnny Dean is afraid of him. So now Dutch Henry Brown has the gun again, and then Lin McAdam and High Spade end up going to a saloon, and at that same time, Waco Johnny Dean and Lola are also in the saloon, and Lin goes up to Lola, and he's like, "Hey, I remember you from like when we killed all those Indians. What are you doing here?" Hey, she's like, "Playing the piano." He's all like, "Oh, okay, great, playing the piano. Hey, where's that boyfriend of yours? That guy was a great guy." "Oh, he died."
Hello again.
Oh, hello, nice people. What you doing in Tesco's?
Now, let's put it the other way around. What are you doing here?
I'm playing a piano.
Where's that Steve boy? Drinking whiskey?
He's dead.
Yep. Now, what are you gonna do? He died. And they're like, "Wow, he was so young. That was all of a sudden. What happened?" And she just kind of points over to Waco Johnny Dean, and then Lin overhears Waco Johnny Dean talking about being with Dutch Henry Brown. So Lin goes over there and he slaps him around a bit, slaps Waco around a bit, and says, "Where's Dutch? Where's Dutch?" And Waco says, "Okay, I'll take you to Dutch. Just follow behind me." And then he goes. Waco goes for his gun, and Lin ends up killing him. And Lin then realizes where they are going, so he leaves Lola and he leaves High Spade at the saloon, and then he goes and he pursues Dutch Johnny Brown on his own. Now, it's at this point in the movie where the big reveal happens, and we learn that Lin and Dutch Henry Brown are brothers. Now, I honestly didn't see it coming. I know probably a lot of people, this wasn't a big surprise. Honestly, it wasn't a huge surprise for me either. Like, when they said they're brothers, I was like, okay, sure, that makes sense. Why not? But it wasn't like the Darth Vader, "I'm your father" type of thing. It wasn't that kind of a big reveal, but, you know, it was interesting. Okay, that's where they're going to go with this. So they end up getting to this rock in the middle of the desert. Dutch Henry Brown gets to the top of the rock. Lin McAdam is at the bottom of the rock. They end up shooting at each other. Dutch Henry Brown ends up running out of bullets, so Lin McAdam ends up killing him. And then I honestly don't remember if he got the rifle back or not. I think he did. I think he rides into town and he meets Lola and he meets High Spade and he has the rifle, and that's the entire movie. Okay, so what do I think of this movie? I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was very well acted. All the actors in this movie are really good, from James Stewart, Shelley Winters, Dan Dura, Will Greer, Rock Hudson. They're all really good in this movie. And there's a lot of actors in this movie. Normally, when I go over the acting list for a movie, I don't mention that many people because a lot of them aren't that important. But in this movie, everyone is kind of important for their own right. And they all did a really good job. As an ensemble, they did really good. Together, I mean, by themselves, they did really good. And from what I understand, this was like James Stewart's make it or break it movie because he had made a few clunkers back then. He thought his acting career was kind of going downhill, and then he made this and it kind of catapulted him back into the acting world, into the good graces of the moviegoers. So for that, I say thank you because I absolutely love James Stewart. He's like I say, he's my favorite actor of all time. The cinematography in this movie is really good. To be honest, I haven't seen a Western really that I thought had bad cinematography. I think because they're all done by like a handful of directors back then. There's like 6 or 7 directors that did Westerns, and they did like a bunch of them, and they all are really good. So cinematography in this movie is really good. The scenes were at the end where they're fighting on this rock landscape was perfectly believable. Everything they were doing was believable. The only thing, there's a few things in this movie that I didn't quite enjoy. One of them was in the very beginning, we're set up to believe that these are 2 really good shots. They're really good at shooting a gun. They get really good distance out of these guns. They have, just dead-eye aim. And at the end of the movie, they're obviously a lot of the shots that they're shooting aren't meant to kill. They're just meant to get someone either from hiding out behind a rock back out, or they're meant to scare. They're meant to know that, hey, I'm still here. I still know where you are. But I would have thought that one of them would have hit the other one before they ran out of bullets because they're such crack shots. It just didn't, and they're using so many bullets at the end of this movie. I realized that his gun, now he's out of ammunition, but how many bullets did the gun have? He reloaded a couple times. I don't know how James Stewart even knew that he was out of ammunition. If they're reloading, how does he know how much he has? I don't know. That's your classic Western movie, though. This happened a lot back then, where there was just like this infinite amount of ammo and guns. So I don't fault them too much, but I feel like they should have. I realize you need a good shootout at the end of the movie, but I feel like in reality they would have hit each other a lot sooner because they were such crack shots. I don't know. I also, Shelley Winter's character, she's a great actress. I remember her, actually funny enough, I remember her from Roseanne, a couple episodes of Roseanne when I was a kid watching reruns. But she's a great actress, but it kind of hit me the wrong way how her boyfriend dies, and then she's not that shook up about it. She's not that shaken up about it. She gets over it really quick. Now, they do this in movies when, 2 people fall in love really fast. They have to keep the movie going. They can't be in mourning for like an hour in a movie. I mean, she could have been. Honestly, okay, her character could have been in mourning this whole time, and the movie could have still moved along the way that it was moving along. She also has this weird relationship with Waco Johnny Dean, where when she gets to like that house where they meet Dutch Henry Brown, I'm not 100% sure if she's like scared, if she doesn't want to be there, if she does want to be there. I'm not really sure about her feelings of Waco Henry Brown. He says, like, follow me, and she says, oh, I wouldn't leave you for the world. But I thought she was being sarcastic. I really don't know what her feelings are here. I don't know, like, how she feels about the situation that she's in. So I could have really done with a lot more of that, with, like, more emotion out of her, out of what was going on. So, like, I truly understand if the situation she's in is dire, if it's a situation that she can just leave whenever she wants. Does she feel like she can leave whenever she wants? Does she feel like she's being kidnapped? I have no idea because she plays it so straight, so nonchalantly. Even when she's in the bar and Lin asks her why she's there, she doesn't say like, oh, okay, thank God Lin's here. Lin can protect me. I've been kidnapped. They won't let me go. They keep taking me wherever they want. Like, instead she says, I'm playing the piano. It's like, okay, great. You're playing the piano. Now tell them you were kidnapped. Tell them they killed your boyfriend. Tell them what happened. And I don't understand like why she didn't do that. So maybe she's okay with the situation she's in. Maybe she's okay being with Waco Johnny Dean. I have no idea because I've never really told whether she is or not. Also, Mildred Mitchell I think is a great actor. He was fantastic in Singing in the Rain. And I wish he had more of a role here than he has. I think he's a really good actor. I know he doesn't play like the leading man. He plays like, the supporting role, but I could have done with some more Mildred Mitchell here also. Will Greer as Wyatt Earp. Now, he's clearly like in his 40s or 50s. Wyatt Earp, I think, was more in his 20s or 30s when he was Wyatt Earp. This is like the third or fourth character I've ever seen play Wyatt Earp, and actually like third for just this Rotten Tomatoes movie list. And definitely the weaker of the Wyatt Earps. He doesn't have a whole lot of time here. He doesn't have a whole lot of screen time. He's just kind of there to fill in, to say, hey, look, we have Wyatt Earp in this movie, and he's the law, and no one's going to go against him because of his name. And that's why Lin and Dutch Henry Brown aren't going to fight in this town while they're there, and why they're going to wait, because Wyatt Earp is there. If there was any other sheriff in the town, they would have totally killed each other. But since it's Wyatt Earp, they're going to ignore each other. And I think that's the only reason why they wrote Wyatt Earp into the script, is because he's the only well-known sheriff at that time, and he's so well-known that we believe that they will actually not harm each other. So when it comes to plot lines like that, I'm not a huge fan of it. Like, if you're going to put Wyatt Earp into a movie, like, have him do something that's, courageous, or something that actually gives him a point of being there besides the fact that he's just Wyatt Earp. But my favorite part of this movie is actually the Winchester 73. It's a lot like the Maltese Falcon, where if it was just in the movie, it could just be in the movie and it wouldn't matter. But it's like this, since it's the center of the movie, since it's the focal point of the movie, that's why it matters so much. And I love the fact that everyone it touches except for Lin either die. Well, they all die. Everyone who touches the gun except for Lin dies, and it's all because of like greed, and it's all because of wanting, the best that there is, and being portrayed as the best and looking as like you're the best because you have that gun. I mean, honestly, when that gambler, the Indian trader, was talking with young Bull, and he said the gun's not for sale, and I thought this guy's an idiot, because young Bull just gave a speech about how the white men are screwing him over all the time, and how the white men are stealing from him, and how he doesn't feel like he's getting enough for his money, and he's not going to take it anymore. And then after this speech where he's telling the gun trader that I'm not going to take this from you anymore, and the gun trader says, oh, that gun's not for sale. What do you think's going to happen? There's like 100 Indians behind you. You think he's just going to let you go? Oh, yeah, you're right, not for sale. Okay, have a good day. No, he's going to kill you and take your gun. So I thought that was completely, that scene was stupid. He should have known that he's going to get killed. And it's just because of his greed, how much this gun could be worth, and, the flashiness of the gun, that he decides that he's not going to let it go, and he's going to allow himself to be killed for it. He's really the only one besides Dutch Henry Brown. I guess he's the only one who dies because of his greed. Young Bull dies because, he has the gun. He just dies because the gun's kind of ill-fated. It's kind of cursed. And who knows if anything's going to happen to Lin McAdam, because we never really saw the last part of his story. So he has the gun now. What happens to it now? But I love the MacGuffin type of thing with the gun. I love the fact that it passes on from one person to another. I like that this story goes somewhere else besides just running from Indians, and from a good guy, bad guy point of view with the Indians and the American settlers. That there's actually someone else who is a bigger bad person in this movie. I kind of wasn't excited that they were brothers at the end. I honestly didn't piece it together. There was one scene when Lin says that he gave Dutch Henry Brown his scar when he was 10. I guess then I should have known it, but I just thought maybe they were friends or something. They knew each other since they were young. I wasn't a huge fan of the brother thing, because I feel like that's kind of just sloppy writing. We're just going to put that in there because we can't think of anything else. We can't think of any other way to have them know each other. Since I don't know. I don't like that. It's supposed to be a big reveal, I think, at the end, but it's not really, and it just seems lazy to me that they're going to throw that in as a plot point at the end. But besides that, good Western, great story, good story. I love everything that happened with the Winchester 73. I love that it's a focal point of the movie. I love the fact that there was such greed and determination from everyone who wanted to get this gun, and then it just led to their death. So I would say I will give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you. I hope you will join me again next time when I review The Lavender Hill Mob. Thank you. Have a great day.